YouTube, what it do is your boy Benji, and we are back balling. If you're new, please don't forget to subscribe. You can follow me on multiple social media platforms, Instagram and Twitter. I like to have discourse, debacle, debates, yada yada yada. Hoops HQ, of course, as well, to keep up to date with a lot of the hoop content that's going on. But of course, we can get straight into it. Of course, if you've been living under a rock, everybody's been critical of the NBA and the product that's been on the court, and what the league has to do in order to put better products out there. Essentially, the fans are upset. They're critical of everything that they're seeing, and it's even, of course, spilling into the WNBA discourse, because that's all we saw last season was people complaining and arguing and talking about the changing of the guard and favoritism and all this. Basketball has gotten crazy. All right, people aren't sitting down and just enjoying the games anymore. I will tell you that, at a very minimum. But we're gonna listen to LeBron James because he had something to say about this.
I mean, it's unfortunate, but like, I don't know. Why do you want to be the face of a league when all the people that that cover our game and talk about our game on a day-to-day basis on everybody? I mean, that responsibility. It's just weird. It's weird energy from the people that I don't know, but. Chiney, he said it. He said it perfectly. Couldn't have said it no better. But Ant said he don't want it. Obviously I didn't ask for it, but I knew there was a responsibility for me, not only to my family, my friends, my community, and whoever that was going to follow my journey throughout my career. Not only in Ohio when I started there, but all over America and all over the world when I traveled all over the world. So. I've always taken that seriously and understood from the beginning what being a professional was all about and being a role model was all about. So try to hold that with the utmost respect and honor. And but I feel I understand.
So essentially, LeBron James is making statements about being the face of the league, and this all stemmed from Anthony Edwards basically saying he don't want to be the face of the league. So we got instance number one.
Tell the truth. You can and will be that guy.
Well, I'm capable of being that guy, but I don't want to be that guy. Put it like that. I want to be the guy to just show up and hoop and just kill dudes and go home.
Tell the truth.
To be who you work to be.
He's rejecting it, though.
You can't reject it and then be in 4 to 5 commercials on you can't do that. You can't say, I don't want this, and then got Adidas, Sprite.
He's got that it factor, man.
But you can't reject it.
Yeah.
You got to pick a side. This is what comes with being a. It ain't just basketball. I'm out of here with him because Wemby can't be the face of the NBA. Luka can't be the face. Giannis can't be the face. Shea can't be the face because this is our sport, a league that we started.
You're going to get a lot of people that are going to disagree with you.
I think yourself the top candidate to be the next face of the league?
No, not really.
Why?
That's what they got Wemby for.
Tell the truth. You
should naturally focus on winning, regardless of what it looks like. And I think we've noticed the uptick in that as a group, so I don't think that NBA's not doing that. And then, is it okay to be the face of the league? It comes with responsibility. Now, whether you want that responsibility, it's up for you to decide. And ultimately, you don't have any control over it. You can go out there and be a monster every night. Now, if the fans and the media and everyone gravitates you, then you're gonna walk into that, whether you want it or not, like LeBron James. I'm sure LeBron James wasn't 12, I can't wait to be the face of the league, It just happened because of who he was, the way he carries himself, and the player he is. So I think you don't have no choice, unless you literally, like Anthony Edwards say, I don't want it. But it's gonna organically happen, and I think we're in a weird transition right now because older guys and younger guys, and so there's a lot of conversation around it. But it'll happen, it'll trigger on. We'll see what it is.
So a lot of information was said. A lot of players are giving their own sentiments and their own feelings about what it would be, or if they would even want to take the mantle up of being the face of the league. Because I don't think it's anything that they can take. It has to be something that's given. And then at the same time, it has to be something that you're willing to accept. Of course, having a face of any company, particularly in entertainment, is important. Because this is the person that, at the end of the day, is going to drive sales, drive tickets, drive merchandise. The big money maker, but this also does come with a huge responsibility. We know Spider-Man. With great power comes great responsibility. This is the person that everybody's going to look at in order to be held to a high standard. When you're out and about, are you going to do this Good Samaritan behavior? Are you going to be this example? Or are you going to exemplify this? We're going to be looking at you for dress code, for things that you're posting on social media, things that you're doing in your own personal life. I mean, look, at the end of the day, LeBron James is an extremely talented basketball player, but why I think he's been the face and one of the faces of the league is simply because his off-the-court life is extremely clean as well. Hey, look, he's heading a 2-parent household, kids, 1 woman, no dilemmas in regards to the marriage, no qualms that have been outed online, right? The personal information stays personal and close and tight into the family. And he's got a really nice and an inspiring story coming from the bottom up. We don't see LeBron James fighting people at the bar. He ain't out in the club getting drunk, getting DUIs, all that type of stuff like that. No. He comes in, he hoops, and he proves to be a good example off the court. He's in a lot of brands, companies. He's a clean record, clean image. No problem there. But again, I don't think it's anything that LeBron James really came into the NBA saying like, okay, I want to be the face of the league. He might have came into the league saying, I want to be what Jordan is or who Jordan was for me growing up. I want to be on the same level as Michael Jordan when it just comes to playing basketball and accomplishing the things that he did on the court. I want to make money. That might have been the things that were driving him. I would doubt it was just, I want to go to the NBA so I can be the face of the league. And again, he was touted as the face of the league. Because like I said, there was just so much that went into who he was. Of course, one-on-one athletic specimen. But of course, the on-the-court ability and the off-the-court potential was there. And he lived up to every expectation. And people are still continuing to put grander expectations on him. So, he's in a crazy situation. What Melo's talking about, though, I disagree. I think you can absolutely choose. It's unfortunate because Anthony Edwards, we see he's young. He's living through his own mistakes. A lot of his mistakes are being outed publicly in regards to baby mama drama. You know, he's got a little bit of a pouty mouth when you put a microphone in front of him. He wants to be able to just live his life, pull up in the game with slides, chilling, doing his thing, living his life, being authentically himself. He doesn't want to have to put on a mask in order to come off as this corporate created monster. Obviously, we love AE to get a little more media trained, but at the end of the day, he wants to be authentically himself, come in, play basketball, make his money, go home. This face of the league thing is a lot. But I believe the conversation goes deeper because we're really just trying to search for the face of the league because we're looking at somebody to carry the, like I said, monetary value of the league over to the next level as we jump into the digital age and trying to secure more and more deals and trying to figure out who in the world is going to be the guinea pig, the cash cow. At the end of the day, who's going to help people watch basketball? Because the issue is, why are people not as tuned in as they once were?
Nostalgia is killing the NBA. The 90s basketball, Michael Jordan and Kobe, was not as clean as y'all think it was. Y'all forget that Jordan left the league for 2 years. Y'all forget that Kobe, rest in peace, quit on his team in the playoffs and did not shoot the basketball. So all this Kobe, Jordan, oh, he's not this, he's not that. That is propaganda. Every great player, whether that's Ant, Wemby, Bron, Steph, this, that. They compare him to a motherfucker 40 years ago. The rules weren't even the same. You're not really watching help side defense. Who's doing this? What is this rule? What is that rule? You're not watching. Nobody celebrates these new people. So why the fuck would anybody want to be the face of this league where you're going to get shitted on every network for not being somebody from 40 fucking years ago? Bron is one of the greatest players ever to play. Stephen Curry is one of the greatest players ever to play. Giannis is one of the great. Jokic. And you know what we do? We talk about fucking Michael Jordan. All this superstar era shit is over.
So Stephen A. Oh, Stephen A. had a response. This dude spent 20 minutes going off about LeBron James' comments, saying it was utter BS. Mistakenly, he proved LeBron James right. Because instead of the morning after Stephen Curry just dropped 56 points, we're talking about why LeBron James should be thankful that we've granted him the position of being face of the NBA. Windhorst gets it. Windhorst made comments talking about Stephen Curry's game. Zach LaVine just had a crazy 40-point game where he just almost couldn't miss. We just saw a crazy high-scoring game the other day. There's plenty of things that have been going on that we could have been alluding to and actually praising a lot of these players for, because at the end of the day, these guys get paid to play, and some of these dudes are the best athletes in the world. People will risk their lives, bro, to get an opportunity to play in the NBA. And, for example, a couple weeks ago, we spent weeks talking trash about how garbage the NBA All-Star Weekend is and how bad it was when the NBA tried to give us a little taste of something new. Instead of just sitting back and enjoying the show, watching some of the greatest players to play the game. I completely agree. Now, is there a good barbershop talk that we could talk about? Is this player better than that player? Can he guard him? Who would win in a one-on-one? Who could shoot better than him? Sure. I think that's a great discussion that we could have while admiring the players that play. Brian Windhorst did get a little misquoted and pulled a little bit out of context because, there's plenty of quotes floating around where they're saying he chose to wear 23. He also said, I would never ask to be the face of the league. Of course he has to be face of the league. He signed a $90 million contract. Why? Because of Jordan. They're alluding to the fact that he could have made more money with Reebok, but he chose Nike because of Jordan, and that eternally set his path on the highway to comparison to Jordan. I think a lot of kids, particularly someone like LeBron James, would just be going with what he knows is popular at the time, instead of blazing his own path. With Reebok, the opportunity was available with Nike. The stock was higher. The boys in the hood was only rocking Jordans. Why? I want to be like Mike. I seen what you did to help Mike off the court. I want to be a part of that. Very simple. I will say, though, Stephen A. did allude to a couple good points that he's not the only people reporting on it. And I will agree. We have a lot of prior NBA players that are participating in the coverage and the lack thereof of the NBA game, or essentially how we view the game. Because a lot of these guys are supposed to be there in order to help us see the game from a different angle, grant us a different perspective. At the end of the day, all we're getting is filler content. We got guys like Paul George, who just announced he's going to stop podding for the rest of the season because he's looking to chase a championship. Brother, why are you podding in the middle of the season anyways? I think that there are some things that we could see from players because we could probably get a little bit of insight in regards to how they look at the game, how they see things, or maybe their experiences. It's nice to see a lot of the interviews from a lot of these players real time. It's nice to hear a lot of their thoughts on certain topics and their sport or even things that they do off the court. But, bro, personally, it feels like they're walking on eggshells. I ain't gonna lie. It feels like a lot of these dudes are just putting together a lot of this content because it's fun. And they're setting themselves up for what the future could be outside of basketball. I think I respect like guys what Jeff Teague doing. He's not tied to any team currently. So he can go out and be as explicit as he wants to. He can tell his whole truth, nothing but the truth, whenever he wants to. Online when it comes to his podcast. But these guys that are currently playing are just giving you bits and pieces and walking on eggshells because they don't want to mess up a brand deal or an endorsement or even an opportunity that they currently have with their team. They don't want to mess up relationships. Like, it's just weird. In the end of the day, you're adding to it because a lot of these narratives that are being formulated are coming from players talking about the game. Kendrick Perkins gets on ESPN every day and says some crazy stuff. Charles Barkley just yapping. A lot of these dudes don't even know what they're talking about. And all they're doing is seemingly projecting their own hatred towards certain players or certain narratives, and they're generating their own narrative without even knowing it. Anyways, Chiney, who's a former pro, particularly on the WNBA, she kind of split a little bit of time doing journalism, and she just kind of kept it clear and concise that she feels like they have a responsibility to entertain, but also to provide analysts. And a lot of us didn't get any opportunity to analyze anything. I think when LeBron James popped out with the mind of the game, that was oohing on a bunch of people because a lot of people don't even know what a backdoor cut is. Stephen A. at the end of the day is a little tone deaf. We're all going to admit that. Because in response to that, Stephen A. wanted to talk about all the guys, the pros, the girls, the gals that play the game and that have jumped on the show and that are having their own media content platforms that are helping formulate opinions about a lot of these players. And then he continued to bring himself back into it. Again, no one ever mentioned Stephen A. It's never happened. But he feels as if all the heat is being directed at him. So what he wanted to do is obfuscate from the point of the conversation that we're having and use it as an opportunity to talk about how people are slighting him particularly. He's never said anything bad. He's been big upping everybody. Yo, when black guys talking about other black guys, it's like you hating on somebody. The last thing I'm looking to do is hate on anybody. I'm just trying to keep it real. I'm trying to... Brother, you forgot about the entire point. Ryan Clark had a lot to say about it as well. Mentioned KD came from nothing. He just wants to hoop. Again, another success story. When KD won the MVP award and shout out his mom and was crying, that was like one of those moments, bro. Like everybody was super connected to, because a lot of people could relate and they could actually feel that moment, that intensity, the grind, the years, the pain, the sacrifice. That was important to a lot of people. He just wants to hoop, nothing else, and he's a pure scorer alive. Yet we pick him apart. Steph, a no-star that became the world's greatest shooter, could never do enough because of what we believe he shouldn't have been. And then LeBron James, who came with more expectations than anyone ever, we still want more. And they haven't been given their flowers. Bro, it's gotten to a crazy point. We're critiquing LeBron James' son based on the success of Michael Jordan's sons. We got a bunch of people talking about somebody who was drafted number 55 simply because we're trying to measure up in which way LeBron James is greater than MJ in what metric. We've created a strange arbitrary comparison chart that is Michael Jordan, LeBron James, everybody else. End of the day, they won in life. They're both billionaires. They've both been extremely successful in the basketball game. Jordan's got multiple rings, playing scoring championships, all these individual accolades, team accolades. They both accomplished plenty. But at the end of the day, we've created some strange, arbitrary slate of metrics that we're supposed to use in order to see who's better. I think it's cool. There is a particular interesting set of discourse that we can have, but if the rest of our lives we're just going to continue to compare these two, and like I guess like with Jordan being the greatest player to ever play, but again, we're all missing the point. If we really were to dive into the basketball end of things, they two different people, two different play styles, two different positions, two different locations, two different eras. What the heck are we doing? We can't just appreciate the greatness that is currently here. I think there are instances in which we can compare players, but I think we could do more to talk about the game. We could talk about the players that are doing it right now. Cleveland's on a ridiculous run, and we talking about LeBron James being the face of the league and Anthony Edwards turning down being the face of the league. And of course, LeBron responded, exactly made my point, but anyways. Happy this convo was started. It ain't about face of the game, and it ain't about one person or one show. It's about the culture of basketball, the most beautiful game in the world. Our game has never been better. Incredible young stars from all over the world and some older ones. Steph Curry should be all we're talking about today. Let's discuss how great OKC and the Cavs have been this season with two completely different styles and break down why and how they have. No one's talking about it. Of course, if players don't perform, we need to discuss that too and break that down. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Even that can be discussed in a way that's not to bring finality to that player's game, but to leave room to see how that player responds, and let's watch the journey of that player. Like, Anthony Edwards had a breakout year. The immediate comparisons became, next Michael Jordan, next Michael Jordan, next Michael Jordan. We haven't seen anybody successful in the mid-range as Shai Alexander has been, other than Michael Jordan. Like, why can they not just be good at basketball? This ain't about me either. At this point, I don't really care what's said about me. It's always something. Absolutely. LeBron James will not ever be able to breathe. If he ain't walking the same, people are going to say, oh, it's because of this. This is about the impact, the negativity he's having on our beautiful game and our fans. Exactly. Now, I will preface by saying this. Angel Reese was talking about the negativity that she was getting as one of the faces of the league and how that was driving fans towards being more negative than it was about the game that they were playing. Again, this was something that I spoke about and said that at the end of the day, the WNBA, with all their success, has an opportunity to get to the level that the NBA is in terms of popularity. But if the NBA is a declining product, and all we've done over the last 40 years is talk smack about how we've got one guy named MJ who's great, and nobody's been able to measure up, and like Gilbert Arenas pointed to, there's a bunch of metrics that we've granted MJ simply because of the career that he's had, and not everybody has to live up to that. When there's players before MJ that were known as greats that did the things that MJ did and better. Bill Russell had 11 rings. Will Chamberlain scored 100 points in a game. But that all goes to the wayside because we have Michael Jordan, and then if you didn't have a career that's exactly Michael Jordan's career, then you are not successful. And unfortunately, the last 40 years of NBA media coverage has been essentially negative and derogatory. We've just been tearing about the players and letting everybody know that this is not MJ. He can never be MJ. Go kick rocks. I think the greatest part about it, too, is that LeBron James was able to go drop the mic on Stephen A. and then go play against the Clippers in a rivalry game and drop 30. Oh, my gosh. Hey, look, y'all let me know what y'all think about it in the comments below.